morning to one and all present here. Today is Thursday, June 10, 2021, and welcome to our morning assembly of a new semester. Please enjoy the morning prayers.
जटा पर गंग बहे दिन रात डाक डमरू ना डम डमाट शंख ना नाद करे छेवा छह शक्ति के रो सात जटा पर गंग बहे दिन रात डाक डमरू ना डम डमाट शंख ना नाद करे छेवा शिव ने भजो जीव दिन रात 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 छह शक्ति के रो सात जटा पर गंग वह दिन रात डाक डमरू ना डम डमाट शंख ना नाद करे छेवा शिव ने भजो जीव दिन रात 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 शिव ना बाळ उमैया अर्धांगिनी नारद शानन भजे शिव ना नाम देवो पण करे छे एक ज वात कार्तिक गणेश शिव ना बाळ उमैया अर्धांगिनी नारद शानन भजे शिव ना नाम देवो पण करे छे एक ज वात शिव ने भजो जीव दिन रात 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 त्यावसे देवो ने ऋषिराज चारणो नंदी चरावे त्याज करे छे चार वेदनी वात शिवजी शोभे छे कैलास त्यावसे देवो ने ऋषिराज चारणो नंदी चरावे त्याज करे छे चार वेदनी वात शिव ने भजो जीव दिन रात 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 दिख पाड़ो ना छुटता हाथ जोईने देवो फपड़े आज भोला ने विलवे बेऊ हाथ करे छे शिवजी तांडव नाच दिख पाड़ो ना छुटता हाथ जोईने देवो फपड़े आज भोला ने विलवे बेऊ हाथ शिव ने भजो जीव दिन रात 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 त्या शशि भाणु गे दिन रात तुझ विण दीप प्रदीप निवात शिव छो कण कण माहयात हरिओम हर 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 नानाद त्या शशि भाणु गे दिन रात तुझ विण दीप प्रदीप निवात शिव छो कण कण माहयात शिव ने भजो जीव दिन रात 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 जय शक्ति के रो सात जटा पर गंग बहे दिन रात डाक डमरू ना डम डमाट शंख ना नाद करे छे बात शिव ने भजो जीव दिन रात शिव ने भजो जीव दिन रात शिव ने भजो जीव दिन रात शिव ने भजो जीव
Firstly, I would like to call Keyur to introduce the theme of today's assembly.
The theme of this assembly is vaccines. Vaccines are a critical part of each and every one of our lives. Without vaccines, each year, millions of people could lose their life. Since Corona came, we all are eagerly waiting for the vaccine to come out. But since we got them, people are confused whether they should take them or not, since they do not know their pros and cons and how the vaccine is made. This assembly will give you a deeper insight to how vaccines are made and what their pros and cons are, especially the Corona vaccine.
For the first performance of today, I would like to call upon Mahi, who's going to give us some insights about the two different sides of the vaccine and how people are reacting to it.
The two doses of the COVID vaccine, misinformation and incontinence. The cure to COVID-19 isn't the beginning of the end, but the end of the beginning. To vaccinate or not to vaccinate, during the many months of fear, anxiety, and uncertainty that the COVID pandemic put us through, for most, a vaccine felt like the only cure to the never-ending monotony of staying at home. But now that it's finally here, a new section of the society feels that this vaccine is not for the better. On the contrary, it makes lives even more complicated, dubbed as anti-vaxxers. As illogical as their statements may sound at a first glance, delving deeper into their arguments would perhaps lead one to understand the root of their fear. There are factors to be considered while weighing the vaccine's effectiveness. The adaptive method used for vaccine trials in the past have been slow, decade-long processes which have spaced out trials. Technically, they are the norm for vaccine developments. But this vaccine does not follow that, and there are some undeniable risks that come with such hurried development. It is essential to keep in mind that not all vaccines are created to prevent infection. Those made by either Moderna or Pfizer aim to prevent just symptoms of COVID-19. In other words, they will protect the inoculated individual from falling sick or not getting COVID-19, but they might still be carrying the virus which they can transmit to others. It just won't affect them. After the announcement of the vaccine's rollout, many were euphoric, celebrating the light at the end of the tunnel. It may lead people to overlook the precautionary measures such as social distancing or wearing a mask. Clickbait headlines talking about how a cure is finally here and we can all live normally again. It causes a phenomenon such as risk perception. It's where ill-informed people perceive that vaccination makes them virtually immune to getting infected. Capitalizing on the high demand and desperation for the vaccine, scammers are creating almost legitimate lookalikes of websites spewing misinformation and incorporating links with malware. However, the foremost concern is the sale of fake vaccines, either on these sites or the dark web. It not only poses a security threat, but also that of safety, as the contents of the vaccine could be highly dangerous to consume. According to research, vaccines don't change the existing genetic material to work. They do not go inside our cell's nucleus where the DNA is stored. The mRNA simply acts as a template for the necessary instructions required for our body to create specific antibodies against COVID-19. The body will degrade and dispose of the mRNA naturally once it has done so. Long-term effects can be determined in a span of months. Vaccines produced in the past haven't caused problems for 5 years down the line. That fact should reassure those who are skeptical only against the long-term effects of the COVID vaccines. Thus, vaccines are the lion's share steps to induce normalcy into the world today. It is imperative for everyone to accept the step and ensure that they play their crucial part in the battle against this deadly virus. Thank you.
Now that we're aware about some basic information related to the COVID-19 vaccines, let's dive deeper into each type of them and try and compare them. Let's begin with the vaccines available in India. These are the Covaxin and the Covishield. The Covaxin is created in India by Bharat Biotech and it works on the inactivated viral basis, which means that the virus is killed or weakened before being put into the vaccine. The efficacy of this vaccine is 81% and it can be stored between the range of 2 degrees Celsius and 8 degrees Celsius. The Covishield vaccine is created in the United Kingdom and it works on the viral vector basis, meaning that a modified version of another virus such as the adenovirus from the chimpanzees is used to create this vaccine. The efficacy of this vaccine is 70% and this vaccine too can be stored between the range of 2 degrees Celsius to 8 degrees Celsius. Let's move on to the other vaccines available in the world. The Moderna vaccine created by the United States works on the mRNA basis. This means that the vaccine contains an mRNA which codes for a specific protein, and when that protein is released by our cells, it triggers an immune reaction creating antibodies. The efficacy of this vaccine is 94.5% and this vaccine needs to be stored in minus 20 degrees Celsius temperatures. The next vaccine is the Pfizer and BioNTech vaccine, which is created by the United States and Germany. This vaccine too is the mRNA type and its efficacy is 95%. This vaccine needs to be stored in minus 70 degrees temperature. Finally, the vaccine Sputnik V is created by Russia and it has an efficacy of 90 to 92%. This vaccine too needs to be stored between the range of 2 degrees Celsius and 8 degrees Celsius. After having known this data, naturally one might want to wait until the Pfizer and BioNTech vaccine or the Moderna vaccine are available in India. Although these vaccines have some of the highest efficacy rates, they need to be stored in temperatures as low as minus 20 degrees Celsius and minus 70 degrees Celsius, and India does not have the infrastructure to store and transport them. Even if these vaccines are exposed to higher temperatures for a little amount of time, they may become ineffective and then their efficacies will not make any sense. This means that the best vaccines for India are the Sputnik V, Covaxin and Covishield. But does that mean that one should not get vaccinated until Sputnik V is available in India since it has the best efficacy of the three? Well, that's clearly not what a sensible person would do. This is because if you get the jabs of the Covaxin or the Covishield, which have 81 and 70% efficacy respectively, you will only be at a risk of 20 to 30%. However, if you don't get vaccinated at all, waiting for a better vaccine, you will be at 100% risk, which is not affordable as the virus keeps on getting mutated, it becomes deadlier and more transmissible. Meaning that if in the first wave, a person infected with the virus in a room of 20 could affect only 5 people, that person could now in the second wave affect 10 people, and the number will only keep increasing in the waves to come. So, the best thing for you to do right now is to get the vaccine that is available to you so that in the future, if you contract the virus, it is not as life-threatening as it would be without having the vaccine at all. Thank you.
Up next, we have Manav Bhanushali from IB2 reciting a poem on vaccination.
A protection poem, Vaccination Protection in Rhyme by Dr. Keyur. I barred upon Halloween with the very scary flu vaccine. I didn't it just for me, I did it for the world, you see. Not everyone can fight the flu. Not all are well like me and you. There's groups that can't, and that is that. We must protect them, really sad. It's simple math. There's you, there's me, and we can change our history. Epidemics are no more, so why take chances, why ignore? And now we face a different threat. There's measles rampant, and I would bet that most of you would like to stay away from it, cause you're not grey. So let's all pause and use our brain. Disease is out there, so is pain. But science helped us find a way to keep this illness at bay. I urge you now to please protect, so nothing ancient resurrects. Roll up your sleeves and check if you're protected, cause there ain't no cure. Remember, immunity to measles can be checked in your blood. Vaccine protection is important, so protect our kids and protect yourself. Thank you.
Now, Poorv Chovatia is going to give us some insight on how India has helped other countries with this whole vaccination issue and how all the countries have been putting together a stronger front together as one.
Namaste, my name is Poorv Chovatia and I'm going to give a speech on how India helped other countries with the vaccines and how our Prime Minister got the idea to do so from the Bhagavad Gita. In a recent interview, Prime Minister Modi said that in the recent past, when the world needed medicines, India did whatever it could to provide them. India is humbled that Made in India vaccines are going around the world. We want to heal as well as help the humanity. This is exactly what the Bhagavad Gita teaches us. This is what the Prime Minister said. And the Bhagavad Gita was born during a conflict which was like the pandemic, which was also called the Mahabharata. And many people think that it is a similar conflict and challenge which we are facing in the global pandemic. The world was fighting a tough battle against once in a lifetime global pandemic. The economical and the social impacts are also so far reaching. In such a time, the path shown by the Bhagavad Gita becomes ever relevant. So, this is what the Prime Minister Modi got an inspiration from, and he wanted to follow the Bhagavad Gita and help the other nations and help the humanity so that everyone could come out of the pandemic and everything was normal again. This does not only show the thinking of our Prime Minister, but this also shows of how great the Atmanirbhar Bharat is, as it is not only helping India, but it is helping the rest of the world come out of this pandemic. And India has already provided vaccines to 25 countries, including Bhutan, Maldives, Nepal, Myanmar, Bangladesh, and many more. And it is going to provide vaccines to places like Europe, Latin America, the Caribbean, and the Southeast Asia and the Pacific Oceans. So this is how our Prime Minister got the inspiration from Bhagavad Gita, and this is what he is doing for the humanity. Thank you.
To end this morning assembly, I would like to finally call upon Mahi to give us a short intro about our last performance for today's assembly.
Next up, we have a skit by Keyur, Ananya, Aashni, and Diya. They will be talking about the importance and impact of the vaccines on the COVID-19.
Guys, I just realized something.
What is it, Keyur? It better be something good.
Yeah, it better be worth waking us up at 6 in the morning.
Yes, it is. Have you heard about the new COVID-19 vaccine? I can't believe that they made it in just 1 year.
I know, right? Before this, the fastest vaccine ever made took 4 years.
What? Really? 4 years? How did they make this vaccine so quickly then?
Guys, chill. Stay positive. Not for COVID though. Along with an unending pandemic, COVID-19 has also brought so many new innovations in the pharmaceutical industry.
Is it? I really want to know more about it.
Wait. Before we move on to any further details, let's just get it out of the way that vaccines are a dose of dead or weakened pathogens injected into our bodies to trigger an immune response and fight them, so that our memory cells can save a copy of the antibodies to fight the real virus whenever it attacks.
Thanks for the vaccine crash course, Diya. That's absolutely correct. But this time, instead of dead or weakened organisms, scientists decided to put only a specific protein from the surface of the virus into the vaccines, making it way easier to produce and cut off some time in getting them tested and approved.
Yep, that's exactly right, Keyur. The Pfizer BioNTech vaccine is based on this exact principle. But there is another innovation.
Oh, is that the mRNA one?
Ah, you already know.
Yes, the mRNA vaccine.
Wait, Diya, I know what it's about. Let me talk about it.
Did you just cut me off, Aashni?
Shh. Yes, just how mRNA is replicated from DNA and is cut off so that the cell can read the genetic sequence and produce the required proteins wherever
Yes. Thank you, Aashni. Because exactly that is the awe-inspiring mechanism used in vaccines like Moderna, CureVac, and the AstraZeneca by Oxford. wherein instead of injecting the proteins from the virus's surface into our body, the vaccine contains mRNA, which enables our cells to produce that protein.
And this made producing the vaccine even faster and easier. But now there's so many options available.
So, how exactly do we know which vaccine is the best?
The efficacy test of a vaccine is one of the factors that helps determine its efficiency.
Efficacy test? What is that?
Okay, so basically, it's a test to determine how likely are the people who have received the vaccine to get COVID as opposed to the ones who haven't. So, whenever a vaccine is created, a group of people are injected with it, while another group is injected with a placebo. Then they're free to go out without wearing masks and are tracked by the doctors to measure progress.
The efficacy of a vaccine is determined by the number of people in the vaccine group getting affected by COVID 19 in comparison to the number of people in the placebo group testing positive.
So, if out of the 100 people tested positive, if 50 people belong to the vaccine group and 50 people belong to the placebo group, the efficacy of the vaccine is zero.
Meaning that you are just as likely to get COVID without the vaccine as you are with one.
So, the best vaccine is the one with 100% efficacy, wherein 0 out of the 100 affected people have taken any dose of the vaccine.
Yep, exactly. I guess we still have to continue to be patient.
Oh, it would be so much better if there was one vaccine that could fix it all.
Now that's a fantasy for fairy tales.
Well, guys, I guess we should all get back to sleep before classes start.
Thank you all for joining us today. Hope you have a nice day.